So typically, on most sites, any construction site, you're going to be doing some kind of erosion control. If a slope, channel, after construction, you need to get seed to establish. So we do everything from your standard double net straw blanket or even single net straw blanket up to TRMs. And on the straw blankets, though, there are multiple options. We have the standard uh, plastic netting, but we also offer the biodegradable options as well, which we are really starting to see a big push, especially here in North Carolina. It is starting to get used quite a bit more in other states. It's definitely, not the plastic that is used is inert, but it's still plastic. And if we can minimize our plastic, we're going to minimize our plastic. So this year alone, we've doubled our sales in natural netting over last year, and we're expecting to see that trend to continue. Uh, so on the natural side, we also have coconut, excelsior wood. Those are the other options. Really, the only difference on those is just lifespan. Straw is going to degrade in a year. Coconut is 3 years. Wood excelsior is 2 to 3 years. So it's really just how long is it going to take for that site to stabilize before you get full vegetation stand. But then once those degrade, there is no extra protection. So if you're in a steep slope or a channel and you need more protection, that's when you move to a turf reinforcement mat, which is going to have synthetic fibers in it, but they're UV stabilized and they're made not to degrade. But this creates a stronger system that allows you to still have that vegetation instead of using, rock riprap or concrete or some other hard armor system. So you're still getting vegetation to establish and creating that ecosystem that you want while you minimizing the use of synthetic materials. So we have standard stitch bonded TRMs, and then we go all the way up to a woven high performance TRM. So this is going to get used on dams, levees, spillways, anything that's safety critical. We're going to use some kind of product like this. It's got a lot more tensile strength in it and a lifespan of 50 to 75 years typically. And when we say 75 years, it doesn't mean the product's going to degrade in 75 years. It just means that the tensile strength will diminish by about half, which may or may not still perform in that application. It's definitely specific to the application, but still a long time. A good lifespan on it. So then once you get past that, you move into the Shore Max panels, which is this green panel here. So if you're in an outfall situation where you have a lot of turbid water, you're going to use this as an apron, or maybe it's a really high flow channel and you have a lot of energy movement of that water. This will dissipate that energy and work just like rock riprap or articulated concrete block, but it will still allow vegetation to grow through it. So it's still considered a green system. You're going to anchor this down. You're going to put a TRM underneath of it too, though, because you also need to make sure that that soil doesn't come up and out through it. But it is a really nice system to utilize, a lot easier to deploy than riprap at an outlet, and a lot less expensive. And you're not having to haul in, so it's a little bit more carbon neutral because you're not hauling material in and you're allowing vegetation to grow and more permeation of rainwater. Then we have, that's all erosion protection. Then we go into sediment control. We do wattles and core logs, but this is our new product. It's a 100% biodegradable silk fence. It's called the wattle fence. It comes in rolls there in the front. It's 100-foot long, so it's really easy to deploy on a site. And instead of having to trench a silk fence in, this has an apron that sits out in front of it that you use some sod staples to staple in. And then as you get sediment flow over top of it, it's going to silt in and hold it down even better. So we're using this on slope protection, channel, check dams, really anywhere any other sediment device is used, this can be used. It's got a lifespan of about 18 months of performance lifespan. The material will last 2 to 3 years, but right around 18 months is where we're going to see enough degradation that it's not going to perform anymore, at least to 100%. But everything about it is biodegradable. So it's a really nice option, especially for wetlands or somewhere where you don't want to have to track back in to rip it back out and then redistribute the soil by pulling that silt fence out. It just will grow and naturally degrade and actually kind of help because it's made out of core fiber and jute fiber, so it actually encourage vegetation growth as well. So really easy to install. It's the same way as silt fence. You use stakes, staple it in, and that's about it. Walk away, never have to go back and take it out. I mean, some applications you may need to take it out, you know, if it's in a medium or something, but it's not required. So you save on labor of removing it, and then the disposal cost. So lifespan cost of this is a lot less expensive, and we can get a lot more on a truckload. We can put 50,000 linear feet on a truck. So we just shipped some up to Alaska because they couldn't get any vehicles up there to take larger sediment devices. So they flew some in with this. We were able to install it, and it worked really well. We also, this video here, and there's a profile here if you want to grab it, in Rutherford County, we just did or we're currently doing a project. There's a highway expansion that they're utilizing this as the slope protection or the slope interruptions on all the side slopes of the new highway that they're creating. So it is on the DOT list as exactly. So it is being used on that side and another one in North Carolina. So hopefully within the next few months we'll be able to get it on. I think it's a year we have to have it on. It's all been on the site for 6 months now. So hopefully soon we'll have that approved. Then all of these devices, you do have to anchor them somehow. So you're either going to use on temporary blankets, you're either going to use usually sod staples, they're the least expensive, but we do offer wood stakes. So if you want to be 100% biodegradable, you can use a wood stake. But then on TRMs, if you need something that has more pull-out strength, you can go to a hex pin or twist pin, some people call them. But it's just works like a normal screw that you drive in with the standard anchor. Drive it into the ground, and it gives you about anywhere from 50 to 200 pounds of pull-out strength versus a sod staple that's only going to give you about 5 to 20 pounds depending on soil type. So especially for like the Shoremax panels or a high performance TRM, this type of anchor is what we're usually utilizing now. It's galvanized steel, so it's going to last a lot longer. You notice these have been put in here. These have been here for about 2 years, and these are standard fabric pins, and they're definitely rusting. So those depending on your application, they're fine. But if you need something that's going to last a while, this is what is a really good option. And then after that, if you need even more strength, you utilize an earth percussion anchor. So what you do here is you use a drive rod, steel drive rod, to drive this anchor in using a gas-powered driver or electric Bosch hammer. You drive that in, and then once you get to the depth you need, usually 3 to 6 feet, sometimes it goes as deep as 12 feet though, and then you're going to pull up on this anchor, which when you pull up on this cable, it causes that anchor to rotate. And that surface area of that anchor interacts with the soil above it, creates a cone of soil, which gives you the working load. So we have anywhere from 200 to about 5,000 pounds of pull-out strength, depending on what anchor you use and soil type. So on levees especially, or dams, we're utilizing this a lot with the high-performance TRM to hold that in place in case the vegetation fails. Because a TRM, a turf reinforcement, it works with the grass. You want to have vegetation with it. That's the whole reason of having that system. But if that grass fails, you need to have an anchor to hold it in place. So you have a really big washout, you might lose a little bit of soil, but this will keep that matting in place, and you can repair it afterwards. So New Orleans is a good example after Katrina. Of course, they had multiple breaches. We went in and put millions of square yards of HPTRM and millions of these anchors to protect all that so that it won't, if it ever does overtop again, they won't actually breach. So multiple sizes, multiple options. So just a brief overview for you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. But we love creating new things and creating things that help stabilize the earth and keep things green.
You want to talk about the Unreal?
Oh, and then real quick, this is the Unreal installer. This is for contractors. I don't know if there's any contractors here, but it's a good use for installing reduces labor costs. So you can put the straw blankets or any blanket really in there, pull it out. It's made so you can either have it on the back of a truck or an ATV. That anchor will allow you to drag it, but there's also a handle on the side with wheels on the back. So you put this at the top of the hill, pull your blanket down, cut it, and that way the guys don't have to carry that blanket up and down the hill. It streamlines the installation, makes it a lot more simple. So it is another option we have, and we have other installation devices too. I mean, we kind of try to cover everything, be a one-stop shop for all the contractors. So appreciate you guys' time and your commitment to keeping things green.